Today, the topic is God in the aspect of sound, vibration. So, before we go into the details of that, I would like to share a chant, Om song, which Paramahansa Yogananda ji wrote as a poem. Because in that, if you listen to it carefully, you will be able to tune into what it really means.
Okay, I think Ramesh lost his internet or something. So, hello, my name is Vineet, and I was going to do the second half of the session, but seems like Divine Mother had other plans. So, God in the form of the Om vibration. And I was also intending for us to listen to a recording of Swami Kriyananda ji. But essentially, the Om vibration or the Om sound has been referred to as in all religions. In the Bible, we hear Jesus referring to as the Holy Spirit, the Comforter. He says, "In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God." I hope I got that right. And essentially, it is, Swamiji said, it is the essence of all religions. Now, how do we commune with Om? Of course, I will share a few suggestions which Swami Kriyananda ji and Paramhans Yogananda ji shared. But even before that, like, why tune into Om, or what is the significance of Om? And I thought we could probably tune into the aspect of which Swami Kriyananda ji shared about that. How did this universe come into being? Well, in the beginning, like Swami Kriyananda ji says that God was not like is not like a carpenter who had a piece of wood. He could just break it down and make a table out of it. It was just consciousness. That consciousness. What did God have to do to manifest the universe? He had to vibrate a portion of his consciousness into manifestation. So first the thought came, and then God vibrated a portion of its consciousness into being, and that vibration, when becoming grosser, became this physical world and these bodies which we are in, you might say. And here is where the significance of Om, or God in the form of sound, becomes significant. How? Because it is that vibration which is the Om song, the Om sound, we might say. And it has been referred to in various religions: Om, Amin, Amen. And we hear different versions in different religions. And it is important to remember that it is not the word, but it is the vibration behind the word which is important and which allows us to commune with God. And what are we trying to do by tuning into God in the form of sound? We are tracing a step backwards. Just like manifestation came into being through this vibration, we are just tracing a step backward by tuning into that divine vibration, that holy sound of Om. Let me see if Ramesh is there. I don't want to. He's not there. I can continue, I guess. So, we are really trying to go back and tune into that vibration, and by tuning into that vibration, become one with the Divine Mother. And that is where Yogananda ji referred to as Om Samadhi, where before the Nirvikalpa Samadhi comes, we come to the point of Om Samadhi, where we feel our whole being is filled with Om. And it is that vibration which makes everything, this computer screen which you are seeing me through, this chair which I'm sitting on, and whatever, however I'm communicating through whatever those rays and waves are, it is really the Om vibration. And based on that, if you read the autobiography of a yogi, Babaji was able to manifest a whole golden palace in like no time. He was one with that cosmic vibration. I want to share a fun story before we go, deeper into the subject. But I hope the story can help bridge. Also, this was a time when a few months ago, I believe it might have even been a year, and Brahmachari Ramesh, who we just lost connection with, he was taking a short seclusion, and because we live in Chandigarh, Himachal Pradesh is very close by. So, in order to come back from his seclusion, Jamal and I, we went and we picked him up. And while we were coming back, we ended up talking about some very mundane aspect, like how I think it started with potatoes probably, that, how in different languages, even if you hear the word potato in different languages, the vibration might essentially be the same. Well, sometimes the conversations of monks can be a little crazy, but forgive me for that. This is where we ended up. And then we started going a little deeper, that how different words, meaning the same thing in different languages, can have the same vibration. And that is how perhaps Babaji can speak whichever language he wants to. He referred to Lahari Mahashaya when he met Lahari Mahashaya in the Dromgiri mountains. He spoke to him in English language, saying that the office was brought for you and not you for the office. And Lahari Mahashaya was stunned. And as we were having this conversation, that, Babaji, being one with that cosmic vibration, was able to tune in to any language, whichever he wanted to. That very moment, as we were driving, Ramesh was driving, and a cop was there, and he pulled us over. He said, "Park the car in the side." And it was an empty road, it was just the cop and us. And now I am not, self realized in the form of, I'm not in the state of samadhi, but I knew exactly the thought which was going on in each of our minds, all the three of our minds. And what was that thought? That was like, oh, Ramesh doesn't have a driving license. And oh my God, we were just stunned. What is this cop going to do with us? And you wouldn't believe it, but this was the whole conversation we had with him. He looked at us, he stopped the car, we pulled over our window, and he said, "Babaji," just as a question mark, "Babaji?" And we looked at him and we said, "Babaji." And he said, "Babaji." And we said, "Babaji?" And he said, "Babaji, move ahead, just move ahead, don't stop." And we were so confused, like, what is happening over here? But anyways, jokes aside, it is the cosmic vibration which we are trying to tune into. And as Babaji can tune into anything, probably he helped us tune into this, help get us away with this traffic, the cop. We can tune into everything. And it is said, I mentioned again, that Jesus referred to Om as the comforter. And if you've heard of the story of Dr. Lewis, once he was in a boat, and suddenly the waves became very violent, very agitated waves, and it seemed like this was the end. And he remembered Master's words, Yogananda ji's words, that Om is the comforter. And when you are in Om, nothing can touch you. And he tuned into the Om vibration, communed with it, and the waves became still. He was able to reach the bank of the river or wherever he was. And this is the fun thing. As soon as he got back to his clinic, I believe, he received a call from Paramahansa Yogananda. And I hope I'm quoting the words right, but this was the essence. He said, "Got close to getting wet, huh, doctor?" And he, again, being one with that cosmic vibration, was able to know what was happening to his disciple. And at this moment, when this was happening, Paramahansa Yogananda ji, wherever he was back walking back and forth. I think this was the same time when he was like, "Doctor is in trouble, doctor is in trouble." He knew what was happening to his disciple. And it is with this vibration, when we tune in, that we can merge with that divine mother aspect of it. I've referred to Om at least twice today as the divine mother aspect. That is because Yogananda ji and Swamiji said that Om is the divine mother. At one point, Swamiji said Om is that Kali aspect in manifestation. When we see Kali, divine mother, in the form, you see her hair, like you see her with all these skulls and the hair, just spread all across, and you see her stepping on the, bosom of Shiva, and her tongue comes out, and it is like, oh my God. But it is symbolic. We need to remember that the hair, which is just, spreading and just everywhere, that is creation spreading across. The skull is also symbolic, and the feet which is on Shiva, and the tongue which comes out. Swamiji says how many times when we make a mistake, when we go too far in doing something, we say, ah, I did something wrong, and we bring our tongue out. And that is what happens over there. When creation went too far ahead into manifestation, it the divine mother, in the aspect of Kali, her tongue came out. It's like, I went too far in this. And this is where I would say that the Om vibration, if we tune into the Om vibration to go inward and go back to the our source, the divine aspect, then it is the positive aspect. But Om is also on the other side, if the Om goes outward, too much outward, because there is movement in creation, then it becomes Maya, it becomes satanic. And we have to be careful in order that our energy doesn't go too outward. And for that, I wanted to share a few tools and techniques, but let me again check. Oh, Ramesh is there. So, Ramesh, do you want to play the Om sound and then I can share some tools and techniques for tuning into the Om vibration?
You mean sharing the recording you mentioned?
Yeah, the Om song which you were going to play, and then maybe you can share on that Om song.
Once you finish, I can share.
Oh, okay, fine. Then why don't you play the recording which I was going to play? So this is a recording of Swami Kriyananda just for a minute and a half, and he shares about the Om vibration. So Ramesh, you can play now. Thank you.
Jesus talked of this Om sound again and again. It's described as the Amen. It's described as the Comforter. It's described as the Holy Ghost. It's described as the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The sound, the word, it's not a specific word. It's rather uh, the vibration of the consciousness of God, just as your words are the vibration of your consciousness that brought everything into manifestation. And this is the heart of all religions, to attune yourself with that holy vibration, which will manifest itself in other ways too, as light, as joy, as power. But the easiest to commune with and the most uh, universally um, praised, you might say, in a sense, of all these manifestations is the sound itself. Commune with that sound, and you will go beyond ego, and you will realize that you are that infinite vibration of which all things are created. Who is to say how many shapes a wave can assume? Who is to say how many shapes a snowdrop can take? They're never the same twice. They can go on through infinity and always change. That Om vibration can express itself in endlessly and in infinite ways. And the supreme creativity is to be in tune with that, and to be in tune with that ceaselessly changing flow.
Thank you. So, how can we tune into this vibration of Om? I guess some of you are aware of the Om technique, which Paramahansa Yogananda ji taught. That is the supreme technique to communing with Om. So, do practice it, but practice it with reverence. And then the other aspects, which are very simple, joyful, but very powerful, is chanting Om at the chakras, where Swami Kriyananda ji said there's a note which you can play and sing out Om for each of the chakra, going up and down the spine. And what it really does, it helps us, our energy generally goes when it comes into a body through the medulla, it is bound to go outward into this creation through our various chakras. And by this practice of chanting Om at the chakras, we are reversing that outward flow of energy. You know, interestingly, in the very beginning, when I came to the spiritual path, I thought these are the main techniques I have been taught: Hong Saw, energization, Om technique, Kriya. I want to focus on those techniques. Why chant Om at the chakras? Why do this? Why do that? But then I realized very soon after that that I was missing the point, that even these preparatory techniques, especially something like chanting Om at the chakras, it really reverses the outward flowing energy and helps us to become really still in our meditation and to be able to tune into that stillness. I use the word stillness, and that is another thing, that try to tune into the stillness when you are quiet, especially in the morning or in the evening before you go to bed. Spend some time not doing anything. It's in the quietness that you can tune into that vibration of Om very easily. There is a story which Paramahansa Yogananda ji shared. He really liked going into a temple in Banaras, And he found that in the side of the temple there was an opening, and he was so thin that he could just slip through if he went sideways. And it was very dark, and he was able to go 3 stories down, he said, and he couldn't take a candle because there was no fresh air. But essentially, it was so quiet that Yogananda ji said that the Om vibration was booming over there, and just a few kriyas, and he could go into the breathless state. So, even in your day to day life, find points of stillness and tune into those quiet moments, because behind those, it is the Om which we can really tune into. And if you're not chanting outwardly, you can even mentally, before sitting for meditation, you can chant Om a few times at each chakra, go up and down, and really bring your energy inward and tune into that vibration. There was a time when Nayaswami Devarshiji, who's the head of our monastery, he was with Swami Kriyananda. He was visiting India. He still didn't live in India. And he asked Swamiji that, when I'm in your presence, I can feel Yogananda so close. What can I do to always feel that presence? And Swamiji gave 2 suggestions, but this was a second suggestion, which is both are very important. But for now, I'll keep it limited to the second suggestion. And Devashiji writes these words, which are of Swamiji. And Swamiji said, I also have found that mentally chanting Om Guru is a wonderful practice. If you maintain that practice day and night, even while you're working and doing other things, it's amazing how much you can change. You feel more and more desire for God, more and more purity of heart, more and more dedication. That's what really matters. Swami Kriyananda has also said that mentally chanting Om Guru will help you not only to tune into the consciousness of the Guru, but also to Om, the creative power of the universe. And a couple of more fun things you can do just while you go to bed. Maybe on your pillow you can write Om 3 times. Swamiji suggests that. And as you lay down, going into the subconscious mind, just see yourself offering yourself into that infinite vibration, that cosmic vibration. And I will end with this quote of Paramahansa Yogananda ji describing the Om Samadhi, and then I would ask Ramesh to share after that. So these are Paramahansa Yogananda ji's words on Om Samadhi. Once the mind is interiorized and withdrawn from its identification with the world and with the body, the inner light comes into clear and steady focus. The inner sounds become all absorbing. Om fills the brain. Its vibration moves down the spine, bursting open the door of the heart's feeling, then flowing out into the body. The whole body vibrates with the sound of Om. This state is known as Om Samadhi, or union with God as cosmic sound. So, with that, I invite Ramesh to share on Om, or the sound.
So I apologize for the internet hiccup, and so I don't really know where exactly I got cut off, but I was trying to share this song written by Paramahansa Yogananda ji, which describes the stages in creation and also how a meditating devotee hears the vibration of Om. So without much delay, I'm posting the lyrics in the chat and playing this song.
Whence Om, the soundless roar doth come, when drowseth matter's dreary drum. On shores of bliss Om booming breaks, all earth, all heaven, all body shakes. The bumblebee now hums along, baby Om doth softly sing his song. From Krishna's flute the call is sweet, 'tis time the watery God to meet. Cords bound to flesh are broken all. Vibrations burst and meteors fall. The hustling heart, the boasting breath, no more shall cause the yogi's death. The God of fire with fervor sings, Om, Om, his joyous harp now rings. Prana, God with power sounds, the wondrous bells the soul resounds. All nature lies in darkness soft, the star divine is seen aloft. Subconscious dreams have gone to bed. 'Tis then that one doth hear Om's tread. Oh, upward climb the living tree, hark to the cosmic symphony. From Om, the soundless roar from Om, the call for light or dark to roam. From Om, the music of the spheres, from Om, the mist of nature's tears, all things of earth and heaven declare, Om, Om, resounding everywhere. From Om, the music of the spheres, from Om, the mist of nature's tears, all things of earth and heaven declare, Om, Om, resounding everywhere.
So it is a very powerful song, and it's worth tuning into every line of it because there's much truth in it. Now, coming back to the Om vibration. It's one of my favorite aspects of God, and it is also one of the easiest aspects of God to tune into. Yogananda ji said that the beginner devotees finds God as Om, and the only thing you need to do to tune into that is, and you can do it everywhere in all aspects of life, is listen. Listen to nature, listen to people, listen to everything, because God manifested the creation by vibrating it, and the sound of that vibration is Om. So you can find Om in everything that moves, including yourself. So for example, if you are near a place where there's a lot of sound, lot of noise, construction sound for example, so how do you tune into Om there, or divine sound there? You listen to whatever sound is coming through the right ear. It's easier to listen to spiritual sounds through the right ear unless you are left-sided, and you try to hear not only just with your physical ear but with the power of hearing which comes from our astral body. With that power of hearing, receptivity, if you hear to whatever sound you are listening, then go deeper into it, and beneath that sound you can then hear peace, a certain silence of sorts. You go deeper into that by not just with your ear or power of hearing, but try to hear with your entire self, with your entire body. And once you start doing that, try to go deeper still and be one with that sound. Try to vibrate with that sound. And once you start vibrating with that sound is how you go towards hearing Om. And there are many ways. Vineet mentioned a lot of different ways we can hear Om. And one of which is chanting at chakras is also good, but just chanting Om repeatedly deepening every time is a good way, because once you do that, you are trying to tune into that vibration. The spiritual center where Om is heard most often is the positive pole of the Agya Chakra. That place, the spiritual eye, is where you focus when you are hearing Om. So if you keep your consciousness here all the time, it is easier to tune into God as vibration of sound. Also, the more energetic you are, the more easier it is. Why? Because anything which vibrates needs energy to vibrate. So if you need to vibrate at the highest vibration possible, you need to have a lot of energy available and be in tune with it. Another thing is patience. Paramahansa Yogananda ji and even Swami Kriyananda ji said about trying to meditate on Om is that it is a slow starter but a big finisher. So in the initial stages when you're trying to tune into Om, it might be difficult because you might get bored easily, because it's not as much fun as love or joy. But when you start tuning into it, because at first you are just listening to it, no? But when you really listen to it, the thunderous sound of Om, you will never bore of it. It is the most wonderful sound ever. And as Vinit also said, and in the talk of Swamiji, there was mentioned it as the holy comforter. So it will give you comfort from anything or any suffering that you have ever experienced. So patience is a prerequisite for tuning into Om as cosmic vibration. And keep listening with the power of listening. Here's something else which Swami Kriyananda ji said from the lessons in self-realization regarding tuning into Om. The more you listen to this sound and become absorbed in it, the more utterly blissful you will feel. All knowledge is contained in that sound. You will have only to ask for it, and it will be given to you. All power is contained in that sound. You only have to call on it, and it will be given to you. You will be able to attract success, true friends from past lives, all understanding, all knowledge, and all inspiration. When you are in that vibration, you need never fear anything. Nothing and no one will be able to harm you. So these things are available to each of us, and it is one of the monks I heard him saying, it is the most practical thing to do to listen to Om vibration, even though it takes some effort. One of the ways I started tuning this vibration was when I was a little kid. I used to be in all these classrooms with so many other kids making so much noise all the time. And it was disconcerting to me to hear all that different noise going on all around me. So I just covered my ears like this. But when I started doing that, to block all the outward noise, I started listening that, hey, there is a very powerful silence going on here inner. And I didn't know at the time that it was a manifestation of Om on a certain rudimentary level. But when you start listening to that silence, you won't like any sound other than that at all. And it gives you comfort also. So it's literal, the holy comfort. For those who undergo physical suffering, tuning into Om has a healing effect too. When we do healing prayers, we actually chant Om because it has the greatest capacity to carry healing vibration of God. It is like once you start tuning into Om, Om goes through the etheric sphere and goes to infinity. So once you are one with that, you also become infinity. So all you have to do is listen deeply and in stillness, as Vinit said, because that is where vibration ceases, that is where God starts. So keep trying and you will listen to it. So time is up, and there are a few more things I would like to share, but still it's fine. Everything is available in Om. So with that, we will end today's session. Thank you very much for joining us today. Om.